Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a tier list for all the clan capital troop and spells. So we have 6 tiers from S tier amazing all the way down to why are you using this for F tier. I just want to say as well, sorry about that ad there on the top of the screen. I can't seem to get rid of it. So first things first, I'm going to do the Super Barbarian. I think Super Barbarian is a good troop in the clan capital. There are a lot of uses you can use for him, such as just triggering traps in some of the bases and distracting and clean up and whatnot. He is a very versatile troop for only 5 housing space, so it's not too bad. Then super archers or sneaky archers, I'm going to put them into S tier. They have always been an S tier troop in the clan capital. You can pretty much 3-shot almost any single base in the clan capital except Capital Peak. Capital Peak is a very tough base to 3-shot, and you may need to use a different army for the third attack in order to actually 3-shot a clan capital. I did a video on it. They're very good at taking out Dragon Cliffs in 3 shots, which is a tough base too. The Battle Ram I'm also going to put into S tier. It is a very easy troop to use. It breaks into bases, no problem at all. This one troop here makes a jump spell just irrelevant. Never use a jump spell. As long as the Battle Ram is this good of a troop, don't use it. It also helps that the Battle Ram is really good in the most broken army in the clan capital, which is Graveyard Spam. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, Battle Ram is definitely S tier. Boxer Giant, I'm going to put into OK. He's not the best. He is obviously just good at tanking, but that's pretty much it. He is obviously used in the best army as well, the Graveyard Army. But there are some better armies out there without using the Boxer Giant. He's okay. He does tanking, does it fairly decently. Minions, I'm going to put into good tier. They are one of the best troops for cleaning up districts as well. Just behind armies such as Flying Fortress's Balloon, or even just any other army. You can just slot 1 or 2 army spaces for minions, and they'll clean up bases very quickly. They clean up bases very quickly, and they do that very well, and that's why they're in good tier. For Rocket Loons, I'm going to put them into S tier. They've always been S tier troop as well. Combining them with the Flying Fortress, they are very good at taking out air defenses, rapid rockets, and whatnot for the Flying Fortresses. They're very good at taking out key defenses as well, like rocket artilleries and like giant cannons, Inferno Towers and whatnot. They're pretty okay against Inferno Towers, but they do very well against all of them. That makes them S tier. You could do them in any base at all, and they do very well. The Skeleton Barrel, I'm going to put them in OK tier. They do very well against Inferno Towers, but I don't. Other than that, I don't see a whole lot of use for them. To be fair, it's just against Inferno Towers. Really, I don't use them a whole lot, but you could use them in bases where there's not a whole lot of splash defenses left. If you took out a lot of them, they would do well, but that's only in a few cases. They're not really niche. You can use them in some bases and do well, alright, but just when there's not a whole lot of splash defenses left. Flying Fortress is definitely going to be in the S tier as well. No. Yeah, S tier. Alongside the Rocket Loon, yeah, it's definitely an S tier troop for sure. You can use them on pretty much any base at all except Dragon Cliffs. Obviously, since the Flying Fortresses target defenses, and there's like 6 super dragons in that base, and they'll take down those Flying Fortresses very quickly. Use them on any base except Dragon Cliffs. So that makes them S tier for sure. Super Wizards, I'm going to put them into the good tier. You can use them behind pretty much any army and they'll do work for you. They're obviously good in the most OP army, the Graveyard Army. And there's a few other good uses as well, where if you put those Super Wizards under a rage and there's a troop tanking for them, and you make the Super Wizards target a high HP building, such as a Capitol Hall, that they will just splash onto all the surrounding defenses around Capital Hall, which will do a crazy amount of damage. Some niche uses like Dash, well, they're not really niche, but it's some common uses like Dash make it a very good troop. The raid cart I'm going to put into OK as well. They used to be great, if not S tier, before their nerf a couple months ago. Initially, they were great or S, but their hit speed, I think, got reduced. You really need to keep the cannon carts tanked, because if you don't, they'll die fairly quickly and not get enough value for you. You can use them on some bases, obviously, if you want, and probably 3-shot them, but there's probably better troops out there to use instead of them. I'll put the Power P.E.K.K.A. into very niche. There's only one really good use, I feel, for the Power P.E.K.K.A., and that is only really at destroying capital halls in the capital peak. For sneaky archer armies, if you put the Super P.E.K.K.A. under a rage besides capital hall, they will single-handedly take it out unless there's like an Inferno Tower or the Eagle or the capital hall taking them down. But there's probably another troop coming up soon that does that job a bit better, but they're okay. They just don't give as much value sometimes I would like. Hog Raiders, I'm going to put them into great tier. They're very good at 2-shotting Wizard Valley with heal spells pretty much almost every time. They're very good at cleaning up the third attack for Capital Peak, depending on what the defenses are left. And in some cases as well, they're very good at 2-shotting Dragon Cliffs for the second attack. If you take out all the Super Dragons, all the Bomb Towers, and maybe the Blast Bows and whatnot as well. If all of them are taken out in Dragon Cliffs, they can 2-shot them, no bother. But it is tough to do. But once you get the hang of it, it's fairly straightforward. Super Dragon, I'm going to also put into very niche. They just die too quickly sometimes, I feel. Sometimes they don't splash onto defenses that I think they should be, even though they're right next to each other. Like if a defense is 1 tile apart, it'll splash. If it's 2 tiles apart, it won't. Sometimes when it's 1 tile apart, it doesn't for some reason. I don't know what's going on. But they just die too quickly, I feel. They don't give as much value as other troops in the clan capital. Mountain Golem is going to be the first F tier troop. Just do not use it. For 160 housing space, it does not give enough value at all. Its attack speed is way too slow. It needs to get some buffs. For example, one buff I give it is give its attack splash damage onto surrounding defenses, a large splash damage, because it's a big slam. It should do splash damage, but I don't think it does. And I don't know. Make it, give it more hit points maybe, I don't know. But just splash damage anyway would very much help. And there's one troop missing here, which is the Inferno Dragon. I would put the Inferno Dragon into great tier. They are better than the Power P.E.K.K.A. under a rage spell, taking out Capital Hall if there's no defenses targeting the Inferno Dragon. If you tank that Inferno Dragon, it will single-handedly take out the Capital Hall by itself under a rage. For 15 housing space, 40 housing space for P.E.K.K.A. And they're very good for cleanup as well, so I'd put the Inferno Dragon into great tier. You can use them on multiple bases as well. The Lightning Spell I'm going to put into great tier as well. Very good in armies such as Flying Fortress Balloon, where you bring 4 lightning spells and they will take down air defenses, rapid rockets and whatnot. They're very good at taking down level 1 dragon posts, because it takes 2 lightning to take down a dragon post at level 1, but after level 1 it takes 3. So if you're going up against the Dragon Cliffs where there are multiple level 1 dragon posts, you can lightning them if you want, but it is a tough army to use. I did a video on it earlier. Definitely a great spell. Heal spell I'm going to put a great tier 2. They're only really used with the Hog Raiders on whatever base you're using Hog Raiders with. You know, Wizard Valley, the Capital Peak, third attack, or Dragon Cliff, second attack. Just any base we're using Hog Raiders, they're very good at using with them. Not other armies really use the heal spell, to be fair, but with Hog Raiders, it's very good. Jump spell is going to be, if I can go down, yep, there you go, F. As long as the battle ram is viable and still OP, there is literally no need in using a jump spell at all. No need. For 2 housing space, no, not worth it. Don't bother. Battle ram is good. Frost spell, I'm going to put into very niche. The only times I really sometimes use a frost spell is if there are multiple key defenses next to each other. So such as Capitol Hall, blast bows, rocket artilleries, giant cannons, inferno towers. If they're all clustered together, you could frost spell on all of them and make their DPS less or reduced. But sometimes I feel just bring a rage is better. It's a niche spell. I really don't use it too often, to be fair. And then the second last spell is going to be the Rage spell, which is going to be S tier. Rage is always S tier. There's really nothing more to be said. You can slot it into almost any army and it'll do so much work for you. You know, it's very good in the home village too. Like, need I say more? And then there's one more spell, which is the Graveyard spell. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it an entire tier of its own. Right above S tier. Graveyard spell. If you've seen my video on the most broken clan capital attack strategy, you would know. It completely invalidates multiple districts and then be able to two-shot them with barely any effort at all. You can two-shot Skeleton Park sometimes. You can two-shot Golem Quarry, Builder's Workshop, Balloon Lagoon, two-shot no bother. You can two-shot or three-shot Capital Peaks most of the time as well. You can use it on over half the base in Clan Capital and you'll be able to two-shot them no bother. It's the best spell in the game by far, and it definitely deserves SS tier for sure. So yeah, that's my ranking for all the troops and spells in the Clan Capital. Graveyard spell at the top. That's S tier, A tier with the Inferno Dragon, B tier, C tier, D, and then F. It gives you an idea of what troops and spells to use. Just don't use Golem or the jump spell, but you can use everything else. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again.